now we're beginning to move on and talk about blame. Blame. Take a moment. And just like we did with praise, I'd like you to just settle back for a moment, close your eyes, and just reflect on what you were taught when you were young about receiving blame. Now, just for a moment, flash on an experience of late when you were blamed. What did that feel like? Rightly or wrongly, what did it feel like to be blamed? Now, one more. What is it like when you take responsibility for your actions? Can you recall a time when you did that and what it felt like? Open your eyes, settle back. Blame. It's the assignment of responsibility for fault or wrongdoing. That's the actual definition. It's not so bad, really. It's just about taking responsibility. We have a real bugaboo about people taking responsibility for their actions, about people reflecting on their behavior and their speech before, during, or after, checking in to see what happened, what the effect was of what was said or done. If the effect was harmful, take responsibility. If the effect was helpful, take responsibility. Equal opportunity. Observing cause and effect and observing intention and impact can guide us towards harmlessness and skillfulness, towards what's called in the teachings blamelessness. Blamelessness. But I have found really that it's not easy for people to take responsibility for things when they go wrong. Bill and I have always lived with people. It's really been our choice, maybe my choice perhaps more, because I find that living with other people, I keep running into myself, wanting things to be my way, and yet having to make room for other people to do things their way. Seeing myself in action, I can learn to make course corrections and be more skillful. But inevitably, living with other people, things break. Inevitably, things break. All kinds of everyday things break. A tea kettle, a cup, a plate, a glass, a tool, your favorite blank, fill it in, breaks. Lights are left on, water is kept running, refrigerator doors are left ajar. No big deal, except it is. For some, just to have someone point out that they left or that they might have left the refrigerator door open really can elicit a defensive response. I have on many occasions discovered a broken kettle or a broken glass when I went to use it. Real bummer, right? I want to make a cup of tea and the kettle's broke. Oops. Or something appears on the counter, visible in full display. Its brokenness in full display. No note, no explanation, no apology. No ownership of the action. Or, again, is positioned as if it's not even broken. And then I go and reach for it. And I get like half the plate. Oh, it's broke. Oh, my. But it's the no note, no ownership of what's happened, no explanation, no apology that I find frustrating. It's frustrating when an adult-aged person answers with, the children of the forest must have done it. Really? When there are only 3 of us in the house? Really? It's hard to own our mistakes. It's hard. And even when we see that we're not going to be put in the penalty box, I mean, yes, of course, there are going to be consequences. Every choice we make has consequences. What follows the action or the reaction is either helpful, hurtful, some mix, or neither. Every act, every string of words we say arises out of causes and conditions, from how you have taken in the world and how you make sense of it. Every action, every string of words you say has a cause and an effect, an impact, whether you see it or not. And most of the time, we know very little of the impact, of the effect, the impression that we've left on someone, good or bad. Because most of the time, we don't wear our hearts on our sleeves. We're not taught to do that. We don't tell people how we really feel, or the speed of the interactions do not allow for that kind of deeper inquiry. Instead, when our actions bring about joy and uplift, we want to feel the good and to feel others feeling good. That supports us. And when our actions bring about upset, anger, anxiety, danger, harm, we feel bad. The barometer, we actually want to sense that so that we know how to make a course correction. If I don't sense that something's amiss here, I'm going to keep doing it. So we can feel, we can learn from within our own experience to feel how something lands. Is it harmful or hurtful? That's useful to us. Train ourselves to so that we can unlearn the harmful ways and develop that which is helpful, that's which is useful. So we train ourselves to see both with equal interest. This is how we navigate the winds of praise and blame. So when Bill and I have a disagreement, yeah, we still have disagreements. We're still Bill and Susan, And on those occasions, it can be very passionate. Our disagreements can be very passionate, as someone who lived with us quoted. It's true. And in those moments, words, this is from my side, words are tumbling out of me so fast that the word finder isn't quite as quick as the words. And so the words may be true, but they may be slightly imprecise. They may be true, but they may be spoken a little harshly. In the rush of my anger or the anxiety or the hurt that Susan is feeling. And I assure you, in those moments, mindfulness has lapsed. Mindfulness is not in the driver's seat, Susan is. When Susan is speaking and she's whipped up by upset, she's likely to say some unskillful things. Maybe a little rough, a little imprecise, maybe a little more pointed. I will find this for you. I don't have it for you today, but there's this photograph there's this picture that a woman draws. It's from a card collection called Pondering Pool. And it's this image, beautiful image of these, almost like surreal image of these two people that are fighting. And then there are these skewers and these holes going through each other from the daggers that they're pointing at one another. And it's very real in some way. Like it brings to life that our words actually do have an impact. We just can't see them. We just can't see them most of the time. We poke holes at each other with our words. Saint Augustine's, just to paraphrase, he said something about like when we are angry, our words, are like a sword passing through us before they hit the other person. It's a good image. It's so true. So we want to actually begin to feel the effect. But we may not be able to feel the effect until later because we're kind of caught up. So before, during, or after, whenever we can restabilize into sort of a slightly more mindful perspective, because in the moment that we're caught up, adrenaline and cortisol are running through our veins. We're stressed out. We're not mindful. So when we can kind of slow it down and let mindfulness kind of come back online, and if we're blessed, sometimes in the moment, if I'm blessed in the moment to see Susan has kind of gotten lost, I can take a breath and come back in and reestablish mindfulness, put it back in the driver's seat, and see from a less identified, less judgmental place. We are more apt to see the trigger itself what triggered us, what that little word was, or that phrase was, or the look, or the comment. And we can see the reaction that we had as a result of that. And from that mindful view, we can see ourselves as a character in this moment, interacting our own part in the incident. That is really good to be able to see what are we doing? Oh, I'm caught up. I'm reacting in this way. And so from that mindful perspective, we're able to kind of begin to investigate, to dissect, to break the component parts away so we can see more clearly what's really going on and how this tangle happened. And we can begin to back out of it very slowly. I can begin to see how I've gotten triggered, how I got caught, but also from a mindful view, when I'm less identified, I can step over to Bill's side and say, where's Bill coming from? Where did he get triggered? What is it like from his side? I can begin to sense into that. This ability to kind of step squarely out of our view and allow ourselves to step into other views. This is what mindfulness really helps us to do. It's so useful, because then it really does allow us to see the places where we're unskillful in a conversation without getting all judgmental about it. Right? Knowing this, I'm able to step back. I can see my mistake and I can make it an honest apology. Once after one of these events, I like what flashed me were these words of, I apologize for the emotions that I am not yet able to hold. That was real. I apologize for the emotions I am not yet able to hold. Full ownership of, I haven't arrived anywhere yet, but I'm noticing this. And these are the ones I'm going to try to keep in check. This is good practice. This is how we take blame and turn it on its head. And we make it our teacher and we say, oh my, I don't want to cause harm. I see that I have. Oh my goodness. So sorry for that. This is noble. This is kind. This is caring. Right? It lets ourselves be perfectly imperfect human beings that we are. It lets us still be a good person, even when we've made a mistake.